made lemon butter sauce for the fish. Yes.
You're right. Would have been easy. But I've shrunk since this morning, everyone. As you can see, I'm standing and I'm Tara's height with the dashboard now. I used to stand about that high, but I'm dashboard height. But welcome to Djuma, everyone. This is our PM safari here at Djuma Game Reserve. We're part of the Sabi Sand in the world-renowned Kruger National Park, and we have such a wide area around us full of wildlife that we just can't wait to get you out there this afternoon and bring some of that to you. My name is Mark, Becky is on camera, and Seb is in final control. We're on a little road that is known as Wahlberg's Nest, and there used to be one of these pretty knobthorns just to my, well, just behind me. There used to be a Wahlberg's Nest there. I don't think they nest there anymore, which is quite unusual because they normally nest in the same trees every year. But they will be coming back shortly. I've stopped here for a very specific reason, because it's a very special time of the year. Spring, I don't think we could say it's coming anymore. I think we could say spring is here. We might still have some cold temperatures. I'm in shorts and my feet are touching the earth, and it's one of the best times of the year, because from now until maybe next year in May, I try not to wear shoes, because the energy of the earth is something that I want to feel on my feet every day. It's why I often go barefoot. And I know it might offend some. It might, some people might frown on it. But when you live with nature and you're part of nature, you want to feel nature, and everything has its own energy. And the only way to feel and be part of that energy is actually to be in contact with it. The rubber of shoes doesn't work for me. Anyways, I'm stopped here because we've got an incredible view, and the dry and drabness of winter has moved on, and we're starting to get a little bit of color coming into our world. And I've tried to show you a couple of flowers in the last few days, but most importantly is now we're looking at the tree line, and if we can slowly pan, we can start seeing some of the tops of the trees. There are pinks and reds and creams and beige, and it's not just brown and grey, and I'm hoping that some of this colour comes through. There's also a bit of green. I can see two trees in bloom at the moment. I think we might actually have to do that again. I'm just going to get in so I can watch the monitor, so that I can tell Becky what I'm looking at. The first thing I want to try and zoom in on is, it looks like the top of a tambuti, that red one, and there's a green one just in front of it. And the green one, I think, is the Acacia robusta with its mimosa-like blooms. Yes, there's the green in front and the red at the back. And I'm hoping that some of this actually translates with our low bit rate and our poor picture quality at the moment. Hope we can fix that. Obviously, afternoons here in South Africa are very busy times for internet, because businesses are busy. Mornings might be different. Maybe it's that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the sun. But we're looking at an acacia in bloom, with those little yellow puffs amongst the green, and behind that what looks like the flower heads at the top of the tambuti tree. And all the other pink that we're seeing, the crowns of pink, are actually all the knobthorns coming into bloom. And we've got some knobthorns to the right of us that I was talking about, where this Wahlberg's Nest used to be. And they too are starting to go pink. There's one to our right that's almost in full bloom with all its cream-colored flowers. And it's really a gorgeous time of the year. The odd butterfly, a lot of insects are starting to come out. There are moths coming around the lights at night. I've seen a few beetles already. I've had a longhorn beetle. I've had a small rhinoceros beetle, which is one of the dung beetles, come to my light at night. We have male driver ants flying around. So it's really a special, as I say, special time of the year. Sorry, Seb, I haven't had my earpiece in because I've been talking too much and I'm trying to just get it back there, just in case you were trying to get hold of me. Hopefully not. Okay, all good. We're ready for the drive. Okay, there were some elephants. Thanks, Ed. Brought my attention to some elephants that were at the dam. I immediately switched onto the dam cam. That was just before 3. So it was just over half an hour ago that there were some elephants at the dam. And our mission right now is just to go and find them and talk to them and say hello. Welcome to Djuma. And welcome you all to Djuma and to some of Djuma's elephants. Some of Djuma's elephants are elephants that cover a huge area in Kruger National Park. They're not quite Djuma's elephants, they're the Kruger elephants, and we're just very lucky when we get elephants visiting. Because sometimes they'll only come through Djuma and they might only spend a few minutes on Djuma before they cross our boundaries. Sometimes they might spend a day. But we've had elephants that have spent days, even weeks, just wandering around Djuma Game Reserve. There's never a constant number of elephants on Djuma. It differs every day. Sometimes none, sometimes 100, sometimes 50. Never can really tell. So let's see. You evidently have some questions already. That is beautiful. The young water buck, the sun in the west coming through there. Stop there. They're moving too much. Hang on. A bit further. Okay, good. Mother and her calf. Young, sub-adult, I would say, not so much a calf. Pretty little thing. Okay, Seb. Nona. Hi there. Oh, no name, not Nona. Anonymous. Anonymous wants to know what is my favorite flower down here. Well, I had a flower for Heather and Shelley this morning, actually. It was in the entrance to the lodge. Impala lily, and its cousin the kudu lily, which I had a 100-year-old specimen of that one of my elephants ate at home. He just chewed it up. Impala and kudu lily, they fairly closely related. They look similar. One's got thorns, one's just a bare-stemmed plant. So perhaps them, but I think one of the most beautiful flowers, most intricate flowers that we could find in summer would be the flame lily. So maybe I'd have to say the flame lily. Gloriosa superba. Has that kind of name. It just the name itself says how beautiful it is. Glorious and superb. It's the Gloriosa superba, flame lily. big Nyala bull drinking. That's why I've come here first, and then we'll head along to the other side of the dam. I think those elephants moved up on Vubu Road, maybe where Seb had elephants yesterday, which means that they've gone way up onto the ridge east of the dam. Kind of hard to get in there, but somehow we're going to see if we can find those elephants, even for a brief hello. But right now, a very nice view of the Nyala bull drinking here at Djuma Waterhole, Djuma Dam, Gowrie Dam. It depends on, well, it has different names. Essentially it's the waterhole, the dam just in front of Vuyatela Lodge. Okay, let's go look for elephants. Hello, Mary Jane. Mary Jane in Florida. Look, there's the lodge. It's a bad light. This is the kind of place we need to be in the early morning to be able to show you the lodge when we've got the light shining on it. This is Vuyatela Lodge, part of it. Well, that's the main lodge here at Djuma Game Reserve. Really beautiful construction. Not like any other lodge. It has a character that is part 50s, part African, part modern, part bush. With some wonderful characteristics. There's a little flock of canaries in front of us that have just taken off out of the grasses, and they covered these trees. I don't know if we'll be able to get it. Try and zoom in on one. Looks actually they're going to be coming down onto the road again. Now that we're here, we saw some canaries this morning, but we weren't able to see them the way we can see them now. Come into the sun, birds. Here we go. I want to see your yellow-eyed canaries. I think they've got a new name. We've got to learn the new name of the yellow-eyed canaries. Sorry, Seb, I had the volume down a bit too much on the radio there. Come again on that one. Yeah. Who was that about the zoos? Oh yeah, Mary Jane in Florida. My opinion on zoos. Cruel or necessary? Interesting discussion. I mean, this is something we could talk about all afternoon. I think the first thing I want to say about zoos is that most animals, 99% of the animals, actually maybe only in the Western world, but most of the animals in the zoos these days are animals that are captive born, captive bred, so they have no life in the wild. They would not survive at all in the wild, and as an educational tool and for people to be able to see them, for people who will never be able to travel outside of their hometown to be able to go to a zoo and see a living animal, it has its value. I just wish that all zoos could be like, say, San Diego Zoo or some of these zoos that really create a mini habitat for these animals. And it's heartbreaking for me to think of animals in such tight enclosures. But there are ways to enhance the lives of animals in zoos. Unfortunately, in the third world and the eastern half of our planet, or the eastern hemisphere, I would say, there is very little compassion for animals, and zoos are perhaps not as accommodating. I don't know, I'm trying to find words here, but it is a difficult question. So, the next bird we're going to stop and look at, I'm not going to tell you the name, I'm going to ask you to tell me what it is. Any of you birders out there, I'm sure there are some birders. Hopefully you can get to see some of the colour of these canaries. Before we disturb the heron, I want to just point out there are not many herons that do this that I know of. I've been watching grey herons a lot in my life, and herons very seldom go out of their depth. But we've had a heron here that's either at Buffelshoek Dam or here at Gowrie Dam that has this tendency of playing swan. And the reason for that is because there's a species of frog that the heron and the hamerkop, it's the same reason why the hamerkop sits on the hippo's head, because the main species of frog that is active at the moment, that is active all year round, is a frog that is 100% aquatic, never comes out of the water, and it lives in relatively deep water, but being a frog and being an amphibian, it still has to come up for air. And these frogs are not going to live in the shallows. They're not going to come out to the shallows where these birds can catch them on the edges. And that's not really why they don't live in the shallows. It's just that their preferred feeding grounds are deeper down. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it is partly because living in the shallows they can be seen and caught so easily. And the only way for the heron and the likes of the hamerkop to catch these frogs is actually to be in deep water. And this heron, and I don't know if it's the same one, it might be another heron that has adopted the same kind of hunting strategy, but they go into deep water where these frogs are going to likely come up for air, And the patience of these birds can only be really rivaled by the patience of cats, and that they'll wait and wait until a frog surfaces. A lot of the little ripples that we see on the surface of the dam at the moment are these frogs coming up for taking a quick breath of air and diving down again. Looks like its feet are maybe still in contact. Of course, it doesn't have webbed feet. It's got these long, thin legs. But anyways, it's just interesting. That's just very interesting. Still got canaries in front of us in the sun. That's a very interesting question from Kathy. Still on the subject of birds. The jacana, the African jacana. We had this male that was raising, I think there were 3 chicks if I'm not mistaken, here on the edge of the dam. Oops, sorry, in the way. But yes, we had the jacana here, but the jacanas, we haven't seen them for a bit. I don't know if the zoomies have found them, but with the water receding, we don't have the vegetation on the edge of the water, so they've probably gone to different water bodies where they can find. It's not breeding time for them, so they don't necessarily have to have territories in specific locations. Two hippos today. But yes, the jacanas. Oh, there's a lovely monitor. Oh, don't go in the water. No, stop, child. Beautiful. Now monitor lizard. You got him?
Yeah.
It's well over a meter long. It's not quite an adult yet. A few lizards that has a forked tongue give it stereoscopic olfactory. That's the word I'm looking for. Basically, it can tell the direction of scent because it has a forked tongue. Gone. Wonder where he's going to come up. There's another youngster here sitting in the top of this. There's another youngster that's only about a foot long sitting on top of a clump of bushes in the water. And a few terrapins swimming around. There goes the heron. Right, let's go see what we can find. I think we'll go up to Gary Katlan, drive around back to Mbubu Road to look for these ellies. Bye, hippos. Bye, Zumi. Oh, there's that monitor. No, well, I'm up to another one, but there's another one on the... There's another monitor. It might be the same one that came out of the water, because I didn't see it come up anyway. Hippos were playing around a bit as we went past them. Induna, are you here? Don't think so. I'll have to oil the brakes. Diane wanted to know what the lizard eats, the monitor lizard. Well, our monitor lizard, especially the Nile monitor, because we get two types of monitor lizards here. There's the Nile monitor and the white-throated monitor. And the Nile monitor, Varanus niloticus, is the largest lizard in Africa. And it is cousin to the Komodo dragon. It's kind of like this smaller version of a Komodo dragon. So they have quite a voracious appetite. In fact, as dramatic as it sounds, monitor lizards can even eat crocodiles. Granted, they're very small crocodiles, they do eat crocodiles. Hatchling crocodiles. They eat frogs, they eat birds, they raid birds' eggs, rather nests for the eggs. They eat rodents, they eat fish. They eat anything they can get those tough little jaws into that is small enough for them to catch. They've got exceptionally long claws that they're able to strip things, they're able to tear things with their neck and pull them away with their claws. They're little dragons. They're quite incredible actually. But monitor lizards, since they live in the same aquatic environment as crocodiles, have learned to respond to the sound of baby crocodiles hatching, and they're able to raid crocodile nests. And a good 2.5 meter, 2 meter to 2.5 meter, kind of 6 foot, 7 foot monitor lizard can easily swallow up a few 12-inch crocodiles. The giant jackalberry. This is Gary Katlan. We're going north. I suspect, I always have suspected, that giant eagle owls that live around here, that we've seen at the dam hunting the guinea fowl, originally came from this tree. Didn't see anyone in that other jackalberry near the camp at Gowrie Dam, but I'm sure there might be, there probably is one of the giant eagle owls in that tree. know Deb in Connecticut. Deb's asking a question about the eagle owls that we have. Well, I haven't actually, but a lot of you have been seeing 3 eagle owls at the dam. Deb wants to know what's the dynamics involved here. Suggesting could it be adults teaching the youngster? And I think judging by some of the comments that we've had and some of the questions that I've had, I think there is a youngster there based on some of the sounds that some people are describing. And I really do think that they are teaching the youngster. It might even be buzzing noise. I think it might even be this pair of eagle owls that we've seen at that big Jackalberry that have got their youngster and they're moving around different places. The fact that they've got these easy targets at the dam that makes it easy for them to teach their child. So I think there's a very good chance that it is the adults and the youngster. The only time we're probably going to see 3 eagle owls together is going to be when they have a sub-adult, and it's getting to that point where it's time to leave home, and mom and dad are going to do final. I was just there would be a small and she's watching something. You didn't hear my excitement when I said, oh, here's a leopard, because I'm looking at giraffe tracks and there's been elephant tracks, and we're on Gowrie Cutline, just turning onto Buffelshoek Cutline, and I think I was just looking at that tail, it looks like Karula from here, but she's been watching something. Okay, we're going to go forward a bit. It looks like she's watching something. please don't go into Buffelshoek, girl. Yeah, she's hunting. She's hunting. Yeah, there's impala up on the top. Look at that. Look at, wow. We got a leopard and we got impala in the distance, and she's gonna go up there after it. She's gonna. She might duck into the grasses on the right hand side. Yep. She's gonna try and stay under cover and go off. We'll sit here for as long as we can, and then we'll try and move up. But there are a couple of male impala coming across the road. They are oblivious to what lies in their future right now. This goes to show that there are no rules in nature. Leopard that are supposed to be nocturnal, and they're supposed to be, well, they're supposed to be a lot of things, but the one thing that is not really mentioned about leopard is that they are super opportunistic. She's been lying up on this termite mound. She must have come here from Sydney's Dam, which is a good mile or two to the west of us along Buffelshoek Cut Line, where we left her this morning. And she's just been waiting to see something. When we arrived here, I could see that tail twitching, and I could see that she was watching something. Have you still got her, Becky?
Yeah.
And she's using the cover of the vegetation just off to the right. There's impala still just slowly coming across from thicker bush. They're coming out into the open as the day wears on. They've got green grasses coming up on the fire break. On the left hand side of the road is a burnt area. It's actually a fire break. It's a long strip. It's only about 30 meters wide that goes east-west along this entire boundary. And what it does is it stops fires coming in from the north, or more importantly, it actually stops fires from the south getting to the north. Because if there's going to be a fire, it's more likely to come from the south than it is to come from the north because of prevailing wind. But now let's just move up a little bit. We are looking into the sun. I hope we can still see things pretty well. But we're in a unique position here in that these are coming out into the open. They're still right on the edge of the vegetation on the right-hand side of the road, close enough for a leopard to get up to them and to be able to strike. If they were in the middle of this burnt area to our left, the ground would be way too open. There would be absolutely no opportunity for her to hunt. And it, well, wow. I've lost sight of her, but that doesn't matter. We don't necessarily need. It looks like there's even a warthog up there as well. Yeah. One impala started running. And the warthog's running across the road towards where Karula might even be. Warthog and her piglet. They're reacting to us more than the impala are. Let's go up a little bit more. Here she is. She's right next to us, actually. She's a little bit too far away to have even seen those warthog. She's trying to keep a very low profile. So we're going to stop. We'll stop here. She's a cat. I was talking about the patience of the heron. Well, it kind of competes with the patience of a cat. And you watch this. She's got to act fairly quickly because these impala are moving into the green grasses in the open area of this burnt area. There's still one or two impala in the long grasses. She doesn't know where they all are, so she's got to be careful that she doesn't expose herself too much. So she stands behind some dead branches looking through them. For those of you who've got cats, you know that they can find a pinhole to look at the world. Be great if people could tweet and Twitter and toot and Facebook and things and say we got a leopard hunting in broad daylight here at Djuma Game Reserve, and we're not going anywhere. Stations, one Ingwe Buffalo Katlan, Gary Katlan Junction. Strange. Some francolins have been started off to her right, just north of her, and that might distract her enough to abandon things, because it might mean that there's another leopard close by. She's not too concerned yet, but that kind of alarm call does affect her prey, because sounds like they're shouting at a predator, and even she's looking. She's also concerned about what's happening off to the right. This could just cancel everything, because she's got to look away from the impala to see maybe there's a lion, maybe there's a hyena, maybe there's something, maybe there's even a danger to her. So she's got to take note of what might be coming out of the bushes in the background to the north of us. She's at least got a termite mound or two to hide behind if she's going to continue. Hello, girl. A leopard caught between a rock and a hard place. More francolins alarming. That's more from the likelihood of an eagle, the distance that the two different francolins were shouting. So what she does is, there have been some alarm calls, which means that the animals are going to be a little bit more alert. So at the moment, if anything, she's abandoned her stalking. She's going to keep an eye on these impala. And I guess I can talk to you a little bit now, because she's relaxed a little bit. She's a little tense, keeping her ears peeled, ears open for what's behind her. But she's going to take a break, let the world relax. She doesn't want anything that might be on a slightly heightened sense at the moment because of those francolins. She doesn't want to move, so she's going to just relax for a while and let all the animals around here relax again. In the meantime, these impala are moving too far into this burnt area for her to get close to them. The iron was hot a little bit earlier when she should have struck, but now cold. Yeah, let's talk to guests, viewers, answer some questions in the meantime. Nancy sending in a question for, I think it's Fast Wings in chat. Anybody can send us a question, questions@juma.com. But Fast Wings is wanting to know, do the lions go after elephant, rhino and hippo? They're not their preferred prey items. There have been cases of lion taking elephant, and just recently we had a couple of big male lions taking one of the young hippos, a sub-adult hippo, on one of the neighboring properties. Some of the male lions that we see here, on one of the neighboring properties, they managed to kill a young hippo. But it's not a common occurrence, so no, I wouldn't say that they are considered prey species, but there are always exceptions. In everything in nature there are exceptions. We're watching an exception right now, a leopard busy in the middle of the day. There are also reasons why she's out and about in the middle of the day. And one of them is that she knows that it's the least likelihood or the least likely time of the day when hyena and lion are going to be active. And her chances of success, and especially because she's got cubs to feed, her chances of success might be diminished because she's hunting in daytime, but the chances of her prey not being stolen are better because lion and hyena are not active right now. So it's one of the she's learned. I mean, we've seen her hunting time of the day is like between 8 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. We've got a really good population of a hyena here, and they cover a lot of ground, and to be honest, it must be quite difficult for a leopard. And none of us really appreciate what it is for this girl to have raised 3 sets of cubs, or she's busy with her 3rd set. Excuse me a sec. I will come in. Sorry, what's that at Buffelshoek sign? Which Ingwe? At Buffelshoek sign. Okay, no, I'm not going to go there. Did you copy that I've got Karula and Buffelshoek cut line? Buffelshoek cut line, Gowrie cut line junction. There you go again. Yes, I'm not copying him for, but she's Lalapans at the moment. I'm on Buffelshoek cut line. Okay, copied. Okay, copied. Long pole and sour plum. Let's see where they are. I don't even know if I've got the names. No, I don't have the names. Gowrie Cutline. I don't have any names on this chart of the roads in Buffelshoek. But evidently her daughter, this is amazing, because that young female, Shavinzi is her name. I think it's probably a very appropriate name. She is becoming so independent. She's probably going to be she's probably going to leave the family sooner than any of Karula's earlier cubs. But she clearly doesn't like her brother very much. She doesn't spend much time with him, and as far as I've seen, there's actually very little interaction with him. And we're still figuring out a name for him. I think we need to know what a nerd is in Shangaan, because he is turning into a bit of a nerd. But I was just saying, for her to have raised 3 litters with the likes of the lion and hyena population that we have here, the likes of 3 different huge coalitions of male lions coming through, lions that wouldn't hesitate for a minute to kill her and her cubs. I'm sure there's another leopard in the background there, and that would probably be Mbilu Jordan, because this is also, he loves this drainage line behind us. She's also just looking behind her now. But to successfully hunt and keep most of her kills safe from the likes of the hyena clan in this part of the world is also a pretty amazing feat. Sorry girl, the troops are coming. Oh, they're gonna bore you. Okay, good. Okay.
From the little lady. I went gate and head east along the boundary and got to Long Pole, and now I'm on Tawapalang heading south. The third Kurula is on Gari Catland, Mark Sonlock, myself and Ebul responding. Okay, Kirby, thanks man. Thank you.
Hello, Christopher, who's a photographer. Are there black leopards left in South Africa? Well, black leopards, Christopher, are very much like white lions. They're not a different species. They are merely... She's just looking at those impala now. Okay, she's been watching those marla, and there's some hornshed that has just gone in there. Yeah. What was it? Buffelshoek sign?
No, I said I'm going there.
There was also some in Dlove at the dam. I think they're coming this way. So, Christopher, a recessive gene, what we call melanism, it's the opposite to the white lion, which are leucistic, so that we would call that leucism. And there have been sightings. In fact, there have been some camera traps that have caught some black leopards on camera. Funnily enough, in an area known as the Lydenburg region, was quite a large farming community. And you could probably get some information there from the Ingwe Leopard Project, which operates out of Lydenburg. There's actually a lodge known as Black Leopard Lodge, I think it is. that is in an area where some black leopards have been seen recently and filmed as well. Yeah, she's moving off into Buffelshoek, an area we can't really follow, but she is still trying to keep a low profile. Also, Abel, there was Nwari colouring towards the back there where that marula is. I don't know, there might be something else there. She was looking that way also. But she's going to bump those horn shed that are up there. She's still trying to keep a low profile from these impala off to our left. Got her, Becky. Keeping her head low. Just got to hide that tail. So often a leopard actually messes things up because it's almost like there's a miniature. There's a portion of the brain. There's a little section of the brain that works independently to a leopard's head that directs the tail. It's kind of like my brain and my elbows. My brain's got a little section that governs the movement of my elbows. That, anyway, private joke between me and some of the older viewers. Megan in Pennsylvania wanting to know how old Karula is and how many cubs she has had. Megan, she was born in March of 2004. She's 7 years old this year. She had her first litter at about 2.5 years old. Her first litter was 2 females. Now you see all these impala now watching her. Let's just have a look at the impala. Unfortunately, there's a consequence to what's going on now, and that is that all this action has drawn the attention of these impala. Well, a minute ago they were actually all watching this way. They haven't seen her yet, so they haven't given off the alarm yet, but they are watching all the vehicle movement, and somehow these animals kind of know that when there are a bunch of vehicles moving slowly, they've got to take note. Graham might have to give space for Graham. He's coming here. And need to give him the opportunity to view her as well. While there's only 2 other vehicles, I want to stay with her until the next vehicle arrives. There's somewhere just off to our right. Let's see where the other vehicle, guests of the other vehicle are watching. Can you see her, Becky?
No.
I can't either. So, that was Karula's first litter. There were 2 females. They were given different names. It was one of those times when Wild Earth gave them names and the Sabi Sand Rangers gave them different names. So locally they were known as Saseka and Tingana, and on a wider scale they're known as Tundi and Shadow respectively. Oh, there she is at the base of that second marula tree. You see her now?
Yeah.
No. So that was her first litter. They were born. They must be about 5 years old now. 4.5, 5 years old. And then in 2008, she had her second litter. November of 2008, she had her second litter, and they were 2 boys. And they are known as Mishu and Induna. Mishu became independent quite early, and he disappeared. So we're just going to go forward. She's walking parallel to the road. Those warthog more than likely disappeared. They stuck around through all of this. Now she's going deeper in. Buffelshoek. Abel, come in. Suddenly got no comms. Abel, come in. Okay, Abel, I can't see anymore. Let's take over lock, please.
But she wasn't better now from you guys.
Okay, then I'll stay yet. She's still trying to get around. Probably still got an eye on these impala. Oh, there we go. She's coming much closer now. Mission Induna. Induna has still been seen in the area. He had a kill here on Buffels a few days ago. Henry, you need to learn a little bit slower, dude. It's coming straight towards us now. Oh, it was a steenbok she just chased. She didn't know it was there. And the steenbok got away. Steenbok ran way across the fire break. It was one of those things, it was like a last minute impromptu hunt. And she's probably still aiming for impala. Once again, coming back to us. Got some spider web on her face. Steenbok's gone, girl. Go to the impala. Easier to get an impala ram than it is to get a young steenbok. 2 years later, 2 years after having Mishu and Induna, she had her third litter, and we're still trying to come up with a name for the young male. Okay, she's watching that steenbok. Oh no, watching a bird again. She's running. I think she's still watching that steenbok.
I'm the bandit. Thank you.
Going after that steenbok now. Lila in Australia wanting to know if the female cubs overlap her territory. Look at her, she's going really low now, climbing right underneath a fallen branch. That steenbok. Okay, we are right here. Henry, please stop there.
This is Spanish, close by.
Sorry, Abel, please stop there. Sorry, Henry. The steenbok is right in front of her. Coming this way, coming this way. She's going for it. Oh. Get ready to move that camera very fast, Becky. I said I don't want to start up now, but we can see now. I can see where the steenbok is, and I know where she is. I can see her tail, and I can see the steenbok, just part of its flank through the trees. But there's going to be this burst. She's a little bit too far away at the moment. She's about, I would say, 10 yards, and it's very open. The instant she moves, that steenbok will run, and it's got too much of an advantage. So at the moment, she has no choice but to be very, very still and to wait. Okay, steenbok is moving off away from her, so he's not going to be watching. It's a youngster, and it is actually no, it might not be a youngster. She's there, she's there, she's there. She's stalking. Oh, you got her. Sorry, Becky. She's now only yards away. Oh, and she missed. Oh, wow. She was, at one point, she was less than a couple of feet away from that steenbok. Wow. I don't know how much recorded that on camera, but okay. Yeah. But it happens so fast. It's like 1 minute everything is dead still, and the next minute it's just this blur of But she was so close to it at one point, but it just a little bit too fast for her. Smaller, more agile, and she started her charge just a little bit too soon. But she had no choice. It's very open here, so well, so be it. She's now moving off into an area where I think the elephants were, unless she's going to head up the fire break back towards her cubs. I think what she's doing is she's doing a big loop, and she's hoping to catch something on her way back towards where the cubs are. Getting to raw the thick stuff now. Thanks, Pebble. I don't know how well we can follow. I'm going to try. Ellen, you with us? There's a monkey orange. There's a monkey orange and still on a tree. I'm going to try and squeeze through here on the side of this termite line. It's a bit awkward. The angle's a bit steep. Quite a few monkey oranges here actually. Stacy in Australia. Hi Stacy. Some nice postcard or posters we've been making about the drive. So that all the cubs are still alive. Well, we haven't seen Misha for a while. We can only assume and hope that he is, that he's safe somewhere. But yes, they are still alive. This is getting really, really thick. But this is not constructed, so I'm gonna leave. Thanks, Henry, pulling out. Yep. Station's leaving Lock of Karula with Henry. She's heading south from the fire break on the top of the ridge west of Gary Kaplan. Way too much well, it's just vegetation, all the small saplings of monkey orange. I wondered where that monkey was. Right, the elephants are just behind us somewhere. Must be those ellies that left the dam. Let's see if we can get there, but it's going to take us hours to get back out of this stuff. Neil in London. She doesn't catch anything. How long can she go without catching anything? Well, if she had to, a lot of it depends on what the size of her last meal was. Deep sandy holes here. Very deep sandy holes that we can get bogged down in. Oh. Okay, I just want to check something on the back of the vehicle. Just excuse me a second. Interesting news about something up on your Dance Dam. There's a female leopard up a tree with a lioness underneath it. Your Dance Dam, it's up in the north on Buffelshoek. I find the easiest route through all of this. Henry might still be with her, but they're going to be close to some elephant. I think he's coming back again. So, she might be lost. I don't think we're going to be able to find a follower. Hi everybody. Hi. Sorry, Neil's first drive. What was Neil's question? Sorry, I picked up a stick and I was trying to concentrate on what that noise was that I had coming from underneath. That's what it was. Neil, are there times that you won't catch anything? Yes, very much so, Neil. No predator can be successful every time they hunt. It just would not be. It would be way too much pressure on the prey species of animals if they were to be successful every time they hunt. So nature has made it very much like we've just seen. Nature has made it that there are times that they will miss a hunt. In fact, more times they'll miss a hunt more then they will actually succeed. And success rate is only sort of 20-30%, depending on conditions and time of day. I just want to show you something quickly. Yeah, you see this was the angle tooth.
No.
Sorry, getting in. In the summer months, we have a very special spider that lives here. Oh, well, it's going to start coming out now, but we only really see it in the end of summer, and it's a huge web-spinning spider known as the golden orb, and that is an egg case, and there are probably 200 odd baby golden orbs in that egg case at the moment, waiting for conditions to be right. So largely, depending on what they'd eaten before, depends on how long they'll last, but they could go up to a week, 9 days, if they've had a good meal, without having to eat again. I can see the ellies. The ellies are just in front of us, but boy, is this difficult terrain, and it's going to take us a long time to get through it and get out of it again, if we can do so safely without having to change a tire. There's no chance of us picking up the ruler, but she is going to come out at the dam. She's heading straight towards the dam, and after these ellies, in fact our best bet is for me to try and get a bearing on the giant jackalberry down the Gowrie Cup line and go and head that way rather than try and get back to the fire break from here. Female and her calf just to our right. See if we can talk to some elephant for a minute. Ooh, some bones. Interesting bones. Big bones. She won't mind if here's the Ellie just there. I want to show you a few things. Hello, Mrs. Ellie. Hello. Hello. It's me, Mark. Okay, she said it's okay. I can talk to you. This is the giveaway of what this animal was, apart from the size of the vertebra, but this is the giveaway. Buffalo has unique ribs, and they're exceptionally broad, and they overlap, and they form this very, it's not even a cage, they just form this very tight armor that protects the lungs, it protects the heart, protects the vitals, and that's probably because they have such big horns and they have such sort of intense fights from time to time. What I can show you though is the entire edge of this rib has been chewed by predators, like lion, I suppose at first, and maybe buffalo. But look here where my finger is, there's actually a little place where a tooth has come through. There's a bite mark from a canine tooth there. Here's a little groove where the next rib fits in, and then the next rib would be there. So unfortunately, here's another rib. I don't think they're the same side of the body. Old buffalo kill that was here. Two vertebrae still articulated. There's an amazing construction, the vertebra, the spinal column of all the vertebrates. That I could find you a shrew, I could find you a snake, I could find you an elephant, I could find you a human, a primate, a mouse. No matter what it is, they're all the same shape. And well, these look like they'd be lumbar vertebra. This looks like probably one of the shoulder vertebra with a very, very long blade on it, and this is where all those muscles attach for a buffalo, for what we call the nuchal muscle. They attach to this ridge on the vertebra that sticks up. Nature's jigsaw puzzles. Unfortunately, not enough bones to put a whole skeleton together, but it certainly is one of those fun things where we could put a jigsaw puzzle together. Vertebrae. And baby elephant there, and mama elephant here. They can hear me walking around. They seem to be quite fine with it. And yes, wearing shoes here because there are a lot of spiny trees and spiny branches on the ground, and I'll have holy feet very shortly. Let's see if we can just creep a little closer to these elephants. So once upon a time there was a buffalo killed here. So far off the road we wouldn't have even known about it. We might not have even seen vultures. The bones have all been here a very long time. There's another rib lying in the grass to my right. Mrs. Ellie. A young mother. Digging for something. A root, wraps it around the trunk and pulls it up. Okay, we're going to answer some questions that have sort of built up over the last few minutes, half hour or so. Not necessarily about Ellie's, but we're going to watch her feeding and digging for roots. And I'd say that the little one that's with her is her second child, because there's another older child here. It must be maybe her first child. She's a small-bodied elephant. Her tusks say that she's older than her size. But let's get through some of the questions that have come in. We're talking about success rate and prey or predators, and Mike in Michigan wanting to know what's the overall success rate. Oh, not easy to quantify, Mike, because my typical answer is that it depends on the predator, and it depends on so many other factors. It depends on night or day, it depends on the terrain, it depends on their health. But I guess if one had to take averages, lion are perhaps the least successful. I mean, they're only maybe 20 to 25% of their attempts are successful. Leopard maybe 25 to 30%. Cheetah also maybe about 25% on average. But if you look at lion and leopard, for example, their success rate increases at night. Cheetah, on the other hand, their success rate wouldn't really vary much because they predominantly diurnal hunters. There's very, very small chance that they'll hunt at night. If any time that they hunt at night, it'll be full moon, and it'll be purely because the opportunity arises. Hyena and wild dog, on the other hand, are a little bit different. Wild dog tend to be a lot more successful. They have a lot more stamina. Hyena too, a lot more stamina, a lot better at hunting, not being able to keep up with the prey and sustain that speed, sustain their running. The cats, sadly people call it lazy, but unfortunately it's a very strong or a very critical balance when it comes to energy dynamics, because they can only put out enough energy without overextending themselves. Little one doesn't quite know how to pull up the roots with his trunk yet, but he's going to dig down with his mouth. I bet he's going to come up with the root in he's trying to get in there with his mouth and his foot to try and get some of the root that mom left behind. There's a tiny piece. He's got a tiny little piece like a toothpick. But energy output versus energy input. Energy out versus what they're going to be able to put back in by the prey species that they feed on. And that means that for most of the predators, if not all of them, they reach a point where they have to give up the hunt because they've put out enough energy that if they don't give it up at that point, they won't have enough energy to try again. And that's what governs the success rate of all of these predators, is that they reach a point where they just have to give up because they don't know when their next hunt is going to be, they don't know when their next opportunity is going to be, and they have to reserve some energy to be able to do so. Hello, Claire. Interesting question. How close? It's not so much a matter of how close we're allowed to, it's how close the animals allow us to get to them. And as you can see, I get as close as it is inobtrusive as soon as they start being affected by my presence. There's a difference between how close we get to them and how close they get to us. And 9 times out of 10, it's all when animals are very, very close to us, it's because they've come close to us, because we can get to a certain distance to them, but as soon as they start moving away or their behavior changes, that means that we're impacting on their lives, and it's at that moment that we should stop and not try and get any closer. And very often we sit and we allow them to come close to us. The same as we had Karula coming close to us today on 2 occasions. This morning she walked up to the vehicle, and today once again she was over in Buffelshoek and she had a couple of vehicles with her on Buffelshoek, and she chose to come back towards us and walk pretty close to us. It does, unfortunately, sometimes it does interfere with the hunt. Today we were lucky. Today the guys actually behaved quite nicely, Abel and Henry, and we stopped the vehicles. The hunt that took place had absolutely we had absolutely no impact on whether she succeeded or not. We were just sitting quietly and waiting. The steenbok was not affected by our presence, neither was she, and she engaged in a hunt completely unaffected by our presence. The fact that she started too early and the Steenbok got away also had nothing to do with us being there. But yes, unfortunately, sometimes the vehicles do intrude a little bit and they can interfere with the hunt. But the idea is not to. Professional guiding in this country has reached a point where when you've got guiding qualifications, theoretically, you should know when to stay away or when to hold back and when not to interfere too much. Hello, Andrew. Wanting to know how many other lodges drive in this area, or is it exclusive to Djuma guests? Well, no, there is what we call reciprocal traversing agreements that have been made, and Cheetah Plains is allowed to have a vehicle driving around Djuma in the same way that Djuma is allowed to go and drive around Cheetah Plains. And all the landowners, because the landowners north and east of Djuma allow the Djuma vehicles to traverse their property, the likes of Torchwood and Buffelshoek, those landowners are allowed to drive on Djuma as well. Trying to dig up some of the roots that Mom might have left behind, this little boy. Let's see if we can move. We've got to try and find a way out of here. Sun's going down. Karula's going to be at the dam. Any zoomies that might be busy with the camera at the moment, please keep a lookout for Karula. I'm pretty sure she's going to pop out at the dam soon. I need to climb that termite mound behind this little elephant. Get a good look at how far deep we are. See if it might not be easier for us to go down from here to the dam rather than go back to Buffelshoek cut line. Or down to Gowrie cut line. Okay, I hear you. But I'm nowhere near you. Nice big burrow here. This is like a porcupine or aardvark burrow. Megan wanting to know what other predators does Karula compete with? Wow, this is quite a burrow system. Could be warthog, could be aardvark, could be, in fact there's a lot of mongoose dung on it. The mongoose have been using it. There are no fresh tracks. In fact, since it last rained, there don't seem to be any fresh tracks of anything coming in or out of it. Well, there's quite a list of predators that she would compete with, Megan. Starting with lion, other leopard, hyena, cheetah, wild dog, jackal, pythons, eagles, crocodiles, caracal, serval, the odd large owl, like the giant eagle owl. See how she uses her tusk to break a branch. You can actually see, if we zoom in, you can see how she's used that tusk a lot over the years. She's actually got a groove where she has persistently used that tip of her tusk to break things. And that groove eventually, often we see elephants with a broken or a chip to the tip of the tusk. Eventually she's going to actually be doing something like that, and the branch is going to be a little bit too hard, and the tip of that tusk is actually going to break, but it's not going to, because of the grain of the tusk, it's not going to break cleanly. It'll sort of, it'll break lengthways a little bit, and it'll have a little bit of a jagged edge for a few years before she can round it off again. But that is quite a strong groove in her left tusk, which means she's left tusked. That's her slave tusk. There are more elephants deeper in just south of us, but for now, because of the density of the vegetation, I'm not going to try and go through there. We are going to have to try and get out of here soon. Susie, hello Susie Cook. Wanting to know why there's a guy sitting, look at that little one, trying to get a branch off of that tree. Why there's a guy sitting on the front of the lodge's game drive land vehicles, and that is the tracker, Susie. It's because the guide spends a lot of time talking to his guests. He has a tracker who sits on the front of the vehicle that looks for tracks on the road, actually looks for animals. This is interesting, this one trying to break a sapling. Wrapping it around his trunk like Mom does, but are you strong enough to break it? Trying to use its foot, wrapping it around the trunk like we would wrap it around our hand. There you go, you got it. Good for you. Susie Cook calls them the bait. Yes, the bait. Now, theoretically, when they go into a sighting, the tracker is supposed to sit inside the vehicle. Suzanne, question might be a little bit delayed, but he was asking about an elephant being alone, or, well, I don't know, it might have been this youngster who was a little bit further away from Mom than he is now, but there's a herd of elephant here. There's quite a few of them. I can hear a bunch of trees breaking off to our left, to the east of us. This was a group of ellies that were at the dam at about 2:30, 3 o'clock our time, half an hour to an hour before drive. Trying to dig up a root. And when they're feeding and they're very peaceful and there's no threat to them, they spread out over quite a vast area. And this is a cow with her 2 calves. This little boy who's, I would say, probably about 6 or 7, and that other youngster that's probably about maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. Wearing grass on its head. Hello, Marsha. Marsha's referring to an elephant that we saw with Seb the other day. Elephant who's got a really weird growing, her right tusk points downwards, her left tusk. It's not an excessive growth to the tusk, Marsha, it's normal growth. She's an old elephant cow. She's a cow that has been studied, she's been noticed quite a lot over the years. She's part of a study group of elephants that have been seen, since she's so distinct. The Transboundary Elephant Project, you can actually look at information on it. It's savetheelephants.org, and I think there might be some information on her. Her name is Addis Ababa, and she's part of a herd that have been named after some, I don't know whether it's cities in Africa or if it's world cities, but there are a group of elephants that have got names of cities. And there's another matriarch, or another big female that's called Mogadishu. I didn't know that until I heard from Michelle, who is from SaveTheElephants.org, doing an elephant study, doing a study on elephant movement. And I didn't hear from her, somebody else did, but she's evidently been seen in the Timbavati, and I must go through my photographs. I've known her for a long time, so I must actually go through my photographs and see if I've seen her at home. I think she might only go into the southern Timbavati. But she's quite a well-known elephant. Now, if you look at elephant tusks, I mean, elephant tusks are incisors. They are the two front teeth, same as ours. And when you look at humans, every now and then you get a human who's got buck teeth or one skew tooth. I don't think anything major happened to that tusk. I think it was just a genetic deformity. It grew that way. I don't think anything could have happened. I think if anything, it's just the fact that she's an old cow and she's just got genes for fairly long tusks. It did look like that tusk was longer than her left tusk, but it's just her age that makes it long like that. It's not that she has excessive tusk growth. And it's just unusual that she has that tusk that grows downwards. And we're looking at this female here. Her tusks are rather thick but short. She could be a lot older than she seems for her size, because her tusks are quite fat. And of course that groove tells me that she's been feeding that way with that tusk for quite a long time now. She's not a very tall girl. Okay, I want to get out of here because it's getting dark, and I want to try and get back to the dam, because if Karula was heading that way, we can maybe find her again. And it's going to take, I need daylight to get out of this. We're deep in some very thick bush. It's going to take a while. So we're going to leave these children, as much as I don't really want to, but we're going to have to. Janina! Wanting to know if we find all of the animals that we have here at Djuma, do we find them everywhere in Africa? Pretty much, Janina. I think you could say pretty much. There's some animals in East Africa that you don't get here, but I'd say that pretty much all the animals that we get here you find in other parts of Africa. The zebra will be a different subspecies or a different species. The giraffe are a different species or subspecies. Elephant will be the same species, except for West Africa, Gabon, where Seb is from. They will be forest elephant. Don't get so brave, little boy, because now I'm going, you can trumpet me. Let me think what might not occur. The baboon will be a different species of baboon. We have Chacma baboon, and you get different species of baboon in other parts of Africa. Lion, leopard, cheetah. Rhino, well, these are the southern white rhino. I don't know what the status is of northern white rhino. I think there have been some that have been brought back from zoos, trying to introduce them back into the wild, because pretty much northern white rhino has become extinct in the wild. Here's the shoulder blade of that buffalo. Ever find yourself up the creek without a paddle? Shoulder blades of giraffe and buffalo work quite well. And if we don't get out of here before dark, we're going to be up the creek without a paddle. And no shoulder blade is going to help us. Seb, hang on. Sorry. Not getting you, Seb, sorry. Just hang on a sec. There's a bad connection here. I need to solder it again. Talk to me. Breaking up. Try again. Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Pearl and Stuart in Scotland. A bit of a strange question. Referring to horses and the need for a farrier to work on the hooves. What about nature? What about the animals here? Do they need their hooves worked on? Gosh. It's physically impossible. Look, the one thing is that animals that live in the wild, their hooves naturally are worn down by the rock and the sand and the terrain and the conditions they live in. So first of all, there's no need for a farrier. But we're talking about thousands, in fact, if not a few million animals. It's physically impossible to treat millions of animals. It's one of those things that in domestication, and because these animals are kept on grassy paddocks and they not exposed to natural conditions like the animals out here in the bush, they need their hooves taken care of because they don't wear down naturally the way that animals' hooves do in the wild. So the answer there is no, you can't do anything. This is nature. It's been going on for millions and millions of years. Farriers have only been around for a few hundred years. There's no need for humans to have to file hooves and do those things for wild animals. In fact, there's no need for humans to do anything at all. We can't. Physically, we can't. Yeah, you know, sometimes, no matter what injury an animal has, we have to bite our tongue and we just have to accept the fact that nature is taking its course, and that is how nature works. It's been doing it for millions of years. It is vital to the success of a species that if it has an injury, that nature takes its course. And if we just have to interfere all the time, we're interfering with the genetic pool, we're interfering with nature's, the whole theory of strongest surviving. It's interfering beyond playing God. It's interfering in the integrity of a species. So nature has got to do its own thing, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do about it. We are talking of an area probably about the size of England that is a natural area. And if you look at Africa as a whole, the size of Africa and the size of the wildlife areas in Africa, we're literally talking about millions and millions of animals that have been happily surviving without pedicures for millions and millions of years. There's no need for us to do anything. I don't know how much more I can add to that, but it's an interesting question, and I understand where it's coming from. Very interesting question. Hello, Vivian. Vivian in Chicago. Vivian is saying, What about guests and the adrenaline and the fear that guests show in a sighting with animals? Do animals pick it up? Vivian's referring to us being quite relaxed and animals picking up on our relaxed emotions and seeming to have a somewhat calming effect on the animals. How do they react to people? They actually do. They very much so. They pick up on the energies of people and the fear and the adrenaline and most of the time I'm sure they pick up on it, but they don't really do much about it. We've been with the elephant for quite some time now. If Karula would have come onto this road half an hour ago already. Where she went from here is another story. She might have gone to the open area near camp. And whoever's zooming at the moment and whoever might be watching Gari Dam or the Djuma Waterhole camp, please let me know if you hear some alarm calls or if you see Karula there. We're on Mvubu Road. We're heading down towards the dam. Maybe we'll see her again. I need to put on a couple more layers. It's starting to cool down a little bit. Hello Vicky. This is a Vicky in New Mexico. She knows why ellies throw water and stuff on their backs. Why do they throw vegetation on their backs? Well, part of it is the dry grasses now. There's sand, there's dust, there are insects, there are spiders. And when they're picking grasses, they thrash the grasses to get rid of unpalatable material and sand, and sometimes some of it lands on their back. That's probably her. I wouldn't be surprised if an elephant just up here. I'm just thinking it might be. This is as close as we probably were to Mvubu Road. Can't quite see her, but no, it's another elephant. Karula must have come through here. Leaving Small Thumbi and Dlov just off of Mvubu Road, east of Mvubu Road. Is there any other update for West Gari? No, I didn't get that from Sarah. If an animal what? Do I have an alarm call system for Becky when I get out of the vehicle from Sarah? No. Simple answer. I don't know what you mean, but no. Alarm call system? No. If anything happens, help is a pretty good word to shout. But no. I don't know how much Becky's going to be able to do if anything happens to me when I'm out of the vehicle, other than jump in the driver's seat and come and get me. That has happened before when I've left somebody in the vehicle and I've been faced with a lion or something. Not quite a common occurrence, but no, Often when I get out of the vehicle, I'm pretty aware of what's around me at the time. And of course, being with elephant, getting out of the vehicle, the sight of elephant, they're my safety. As long as elephants are there, I feel safe. Just trying to pick up maybe Karula's tracks coming onto Ngugu Road. That's so far not yet. Emily, do we have springbuck? How many? If there are, can I show you the difference between springbuck and impala? No springbuck. There's probably no springbuck for about a 500-mile radius. Maybe even a bit more than that. Springbuck don't occur here. This is not their habitat. One of the main differences between springbuck is their coloration. The fact that they are gazelles, they're a different group of antelopes to impala. Both males and females have horns of springbuck. They're much smaller. Their horn shapes are different. Colouring is different. And there are places you might get impala and springbuck in the same place, but they live in the big open grassland plains, the central and western part of the country, not in this part of the world, I'm afraid. So I can't show you a springbuck, sorry. I can show you another small antelope called a Dacre. We saw this running away. Hey Monty. Okay, and off he goes. I wonder where she went. Here. Would have expected her to walk along the road at least a little bit. She came this way. She was heading this way from the elephant. But she might have walked along the top of the ridge. We'll go along Central Road a little bit and see if we can't find some sign of her there. Cubs are still up on Vuyatela Access Road. They did have a brief visual of young Shavinzi earlier. We were there this morning, but where the cubs are, there's no signal there. Another question from a while ago is from William, wanting to know if we're getting a king cheetah in the area. King cheetah, very much like black leopard, are not a separate species. They're a melanistic form of the cheetah, where the darker pigment is dominant. And no, I don't recall any king cheetah being seen. Not that they won't occur here. They could get a king cheetah here, but to my knowledge, smoking cheetah have been seen here. I'm going to have a look at the dam from this side of things. Then we'll go down Central Road and back around to Gary Cutline. See the guinea fowl have forgotten about the owls. They're coming back to roost where they used to roost. Where's our leopard gone? Getting time to put on some layers. Okay, let's go up Central Road, Gary Cutline, see if we... Can't imagine she would have turned
One station in log of the
back.
Bengue and Ngala, but Ngala is heading south towards West Atlantic.
Greetings to Christine and Robert. Where's that? Ohio. What kind of food do we eat here in the middle of the bush? Pretty much the same kind of food that you eat, really. Last night we had crumbed fish with baked potatoes, green beans, gem squash. No, you don't get gem squash, they're nice little squashes. Tonight we haven't decided yet. We might have chicken schnitzels and rice. With Becky and I were talking about it. I think we'll have chicken schnitzels and some rice with a bit of a lemon and herb butter sauce. I bought some ingredients to make a chicken curry. We've got some beef cubes. We can make a stroganoff or a goulash. We have just pretty much the same thing that everybody else eats in the Western world, but with a slightly South African flavour to it. Meat, potato, or meat, starch and veg. There are times that we eat well when we've got time to cook, and there are times when we're just too tired and we don't feel like cooking. We'll just have leftovers, or we'll just have sandwiches or snack. This morning we had all three of us had a really nice breakfast. We did a proper bacon and egg breakfast. Lunchtime is usually just snacking. Sandwiches. I like to have pastrami and mayo. Pastrami mayo sandwich. We got some hamburger buns today, and we have some ground beef, and we're going to make some hamburger patties. Maybe tomorrow we'll have hamburgers. Occasionally we used to have T-bones every now and then, every Sunday. Occasionally we have... Actually we must do that. Get a whole chicken, we'll roast the chicken again one of these days. Spicy chicken. Butterfly. Butterfly chicken. Honey and mustard. No, lemon and herb. Okay, you can have the honey and mustard one, I'll have the lemon and herb one.
I like that.
Okay, good. Oh, thank you, Cody. Heather. Heather's evidently been back with us again. Nice to hear you're doing okay, Heather. How's Shelley? Heather and Shelley in hospital in Seattle. Shelley's just donated a kidney, Heather's just received a kidney. Special ladies. Penny is laughing, wanting to know if my chicken curry is going to be as good as Bob's curry. No chance, Penny. I'd like to make the curry for Bob one day. Penny and Bob from Durban came by 2 years ago now. Well, I have seen them between then and now, but 2 years ago Penny and Bob came past. They were in the Kruger and they came past and brought us a tub of Bob's chicken curry, and yeah, it was good, Bobby. It was a really good curry. I don't know, might be as good, might be a good contender for competition. You'd have to come and have my curry, or I'd have to come and make you a curry. Gotta have the right ingredients. Well, generally when I'm cooking something I use whatever I've got. Whatever's in the kitchen I use bits of this and bits of that. I don't follow recipes. I'll cook anything you want, but I'll make it with whatever I've got available, because we don't have shops close by to be able to sort of just run out and get something that might be missing. I just substitute. That's why I've never followed recipes. Okay, time, folks. Time for me to put some sleeves on. I'm starting to get chilly. So we're going to stop here on this junction before we get back to Gowrie Dam. I think we're going to go. Karula is going to be heading back towards the Cubs, getting dark, so we're going to have to go up Voyatella Access Road back in that part, back in that direction. So we're going to stop here, and I'm just going to hide away, not hide away, I'm going to go off the back of the vehicle and put some layers on quickly. It's getting chilly. Sunset was happening when we were with the elephant. I'll put this on, and that should be enough for now. Oh, while I'm gone, Binky, are you with us? Look what came. This, before it's dark. Look at that. But what's so amazing about this is who's having a birthday. And I know it's taken a long time to get here, Binky. This goes to show Africa. The mail doesn't work like it does in other parts of the world. This was sent. I can't see the postal stamp. The stamp. This comes from Jacksonville in North Carolina. It was sent on the 29th of March.
It's my birthday.
Huh?
That's my birthday.
It's your birthday?
Yeah.
Well, it was sent for my birthday. So you're also an Aries, yeah, but your mom told me you are. Thanks, Binky. I have to admit that it has possibly been sitting at the lodge for a few months. We used to have a special tray for mail at the lodge. And the other thing that arrived that was sent from I think Tennessee? No. Louisiana. Dawn. I think it was Dawn. I think it's Louisiana. It was a lovely parcel that was sent for Tara and I when we were sick a couple of months ago, with all the things we needed when we were coughing and spluttering, and some people thought we were on our last legs. That parcel finally arrived. Had some tissues and lozenges and hand cleaner and some nice little trinkets that came through, but unfortunately, once again, it took forever to get here. Excuse me, I'm just going to go and change. There we go. But you know what makes that little card from Blinky so special is that I had a little owl that looked very much like that little owl. I wonder if that's probably not a spotted owl. But I had a little owl just like that, and its name was Who. Except Who had, I think we had 3 O's for Who's name.
That's right now, but she looks like she's the one with my people on the other day, the teeth hanging down. So that she found her no rest on the Shatiri. Ngala found her no east towards Fustat Kamot. Oh, the Ngala not following the Yari. I will try to take Cutline west as well.
I found this cat again. Welcome to Djuma Game Reserve, everyone. In the afterglow of sunset here in Africa. We've been with a leopard, we've been with some elephants, and we're going to see if we can't find where this cat has gone to. She might be heading back to her children. David, who's asking if I need a doctor? Deb, if we need a doctor, then we go to a doctor. A little bit of a long drive out to the doctor, but if we need a doctor, we go to the doctor. It's an emergency, we go and sit under a maru tree and light a cigarette. You're not going to die of lung cancer. No, that's a poor joke. Knock on wood. You don't need a doctor. I have needed a doctor. I've been evacuated, medevaced out of the bush on numerous occasions. Not fun, bouncing along on bumpy dirt roads to get to a hospital, but that's the way it is. I've been airlifted out of the bush. Very expensive. You've got to be like really close to death to be airlifted out. Thousands of dollars to get a helicopter or a plane to come in and get you. Put it this way, we try not to need a doctor. Hello little monitor, you still there? No, he is looking at us. I wonder if we can pick that up with the camera. Might be a bit far. Oh gosh, all the fleas are back in their trees. Don't fly, children. Don't move. I'm just coming through. Just coming through. Find the owls. Speaking of which, any eagle owls? Not seeing an owl. They'll probably be back. kind of cat. All up ahead though. Cricket. Jimmy's cousin. Jiminy's cousin. Criminy. Criminy cricket. The country bumpkin. Hello children. Karula's on the prowl. Just thought I'd let you know. Use it, don't use it. Think about it. So, try again, Sid. So we're going to have the whole herd running up here onto the open area now. We're going to stop here and watch them. So that said, if you can get me. Yes. Oh no, sorry, this. If I hold it, it's fine. There's a loose connection in my earpiece. Try again. Heather wanted to know. Why the camera's not allowed on different properties? It's not the camera, it's the vehicle, it's us. Because they're differently owned property, they're owned by different people, and it costs money to traverse on other people's properties. In fact, it costs a lot of money to be able to pay for traversing rights onto other properties. And although Djuma does pay traversing rights to Buffelshoek, it's not for this vehicle, it's only for the guest vehicles. But most of all at the moment, we wouldn't be able to broadcast from other properties or very far into other properties because we are limited to the range that we can go to broadcast from. I mean, we are doing something unique. Nowhere else in the world is there a vehicle that has a live camera that goes out in a wilderness area, a wildlife area, and is able to broadcast live to the world. This is something that is totally unique. And it means that we've been pioneering things in terms of being able to load all the necessary broadcast equipment onto an open Land Rover that drives around the bush in the kind of terrain that we drive in. It's all very well that you can get remote vehicles for outside broadcasts from TV stations, but they're normally minivans with very high-tech equipment in it. We're using kind of a low-tech version of that, but we still have amplifiers and modulators and what are they called? Encoders and inverters and thingamajigs and whatchamacallit that is attached to the thingamajig. And all of that's got to send us a microwave signal from us to a tower, to final control where Seb is, onto a special bit of software that encodes it and sends it out as a broadcast. and that's got to go through another number of different points to eventually reach you. So while it is live, it's actually a few seconds delay because it is bouncing back and forwards before it gets to the rest of the planet. Nice big herd of impala coming out into the open for the evening. Let's go on to, yeah. Sarah in New York, difference between Wild Earth and Djuma.com. Just different platforms to broadcast from. Wild Earth is essentially Wild Earth. We're providing content for Wild Earth. Wild Earth is a broadcaster of live cams. I don't know why you're struggling with the email. We've got to go through our email every day, and somehow that email is filtering some people's emails as spam, so we have to go through to the spam email and then click it as not spam for it to come into the main email box. But there shouldn't really be any reason why you, unless you're sending email to questions at Wild Earth Safari or something like that. Those emails don't exist anymore. Questions need to go to questions@djuma.com. I mean, preferably we'd like you to be watching it through Djuma.com. You can watch the stream through Wild Earth, but you can also watch it through Ustream. Essentially, it's all Wild Earth broadcast, and we here at Djuma are providing the content for Wild Earth, or one of the Wild Earth links, because Wild Earth has cameras all over the place. Okay, let's go. It's getting dark. I want to try and get to Vuyatela Access Road, and got this lovely glow in the west, and hopefully we can get to see, maybe Karoo is going to come out on that side of the lodge. She was to the east on the other side of the dam. We couldn't follow her through that thick stuff. I'm glad we didn't, because who knows, she might have actually caught something. Sometimes it is better not to have vehicles following you when you're trying to hunt. Mark Yaga.
Mark, you have our channel 1?
Not with me, no.
Alright.
Seb.
Okay, so you have to get hold of it.
Only maybe by phone. Stand by, I'll get him to switch that other radio on.
You'll go higher.
Sorry, go again?
We'll be right there, you'll go higher.
Okay, copy, thanks. Seb, did you copy that? There's Hippo right there in car park. Look, here's my new toy, everybody. I bought this today. Cost me a pretty packet. That is a nice toy. You might have heard that landing on the waterhole cam. Yeah, right, my new toy. In my dreams. My dreams. Guests. That's the way to arrive at a lodge. That's called making an entrance. So, Nick, come in. Nick, do you copy? Yeah, I have mentioned it to Seb.
Alright, perfect, because right here I took out 5 left.
Okay, thanks. What, outside FC?
Right side, all they see by your kitchen door.
My word. Okay, right at our kitchen door, we've got Hippo there. But there's like, huh? Outside Becky's bedroom. But yeah, Seb, I wouldn't even go there because there's a fence there and they'll feel cornered. I'm sure they're probably a little disoriented. That's when Hippo can be at their most dangerous. I would go into camp to try and see, but we can't because it's on the other side of the building, so we wouldn't even be able to see them. Let's see, that last question was... What? Yeah, Vivian, how come the guinea fowl didn't react to the owl? I don't know, couldn't tell you. Maybe because it's a juvenile? Interesting question. Vivian was saying that the guinea fowl didn't react to the owl being in the tree or on the shoreline of the dam at all. Couldn't tell you, Vivian. Maybe they've learned that it's inexperienced and it doesn't have any impact on their lives. Can't hunt them. Keep your eye out. Keep an eye out for not only the guinea fowl and the owl, but also Karula might be coming by there. And here the Dukkop's shouting. Surrey's Road Junction, we just check along this junction if somebody's come this way. No, somebody hasn't. I don't know where somebody is. My guess is get back up to Buffles of Cutlight, she might be there. cold, it's like chill in the air. I'm in shorts and I'm hoping I don't have to put long pants on again until May next year. Might have to occasionally. Wow. Seb is saying that Hippo's right in front of the kitchen, in front of his room. I'm going to have to move because when I get back I want to have a beer and my beer's in the kitchen. And I want to have dinner. I'm hungry. I'll just have Hippo steaks. Get the fire going. I'll put him on a spit. No, Mark, that's evil. Put him on a spit. I was saying that there might be the odd cool weather coming again, especially if we have a bit of rain, but I think this evening is a good example of weather turning and turning in my favor, back to the heat and the sweaty days of summer. Some dust. Let's go Morbury's Road up onto Buffalo's Cut Line. We might catch one of these porcupines that walk around here all the time. We might catch honey badger that we've seen tracks of here. Might catch a leopard coming back towards the cubs. Oh, that's right, Madeline. That's my favourite alcoholic drink. Do I like Scottish whiskey? I'm not really a whiskey fan. I appreciate a good single malt. I'm not too fond of blended whiskies. I am fond of Tennessee whiskey. But that's whiskey with an EY. It's not allowed to be spelled without the E. It's kind of like a bourbon. Well, Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, I guess, is my poison. And I am quite partial to beer. For me, end of the day, having a beer at the end of the day is kind of, that ends the day. I love having a beer at the end of the day, especially on hot days. Not too much of a wine drink, even though I'm a winer. My surname is Weiner, and that is German. Weiner. It comes from German. I don't know where, German or Austrian, but it means the person who deals with wine. Or maybe it comes from Vienna, from Vienna. But no, that would be I-E, not E-I. W-E-I-N-E-R. From the German W-E-I-N, Wein, which is wine. Not much of a wine. I enjoy the romanticism of wine. Stop it, guys, I'm talking. A romantic dinner isn't a romantic dinner without wine, whether it's red, white, or sparkling. Tequila. Tequila is the party drink. It's one of those things that gets party started. I like margaritas. Sipping margaritas on the edge of the Bay of Concepcion in the Gulf of Mexico. Not the Gulf of Mexico, what am I talking about? The Sea of Cortez. far more romantic. Caipirinhas and the like. So all kind of margarita-like drinks. That's about it. Wherever that question came from. My surgeon said I could have a whiskey or a glass of wine or I don't think she said I could have a beer, but I had to have a beer every now and then anyway. She said I shouldn't have carbonated drinks. I don't have any sodas. Beers just have bubbles. Porcupine, honey badger, where are you? Gorilla. Who was that, Seb? Rene. Is that Pete's Rene? This is a nightjar. Oh, no, not Pete's Rene. But hello, Rene. Nonetheless, did I hear about this shocking news about Rhino? Gosh, we really got to do something about this. Our government's got to wake up. I mean, really. It's just getting worse and worse. I mean, they're making headway. There's some improvement. How can you call it improvement if there's still rhino being killed? Maybe there's less rhino being killed, but this is really, really my appeal to the world. Somebody asked me if there's one thing that I could change, if I could change that right now. But anybody aiming a gun at a rhino, the rifle or the gun would explode in their face and kill them instantly. Let that happen, yes. But the rhino situation is beyond. I'm speechless. This is a rhino, a male rhino. I think he was the first rhino to be reintroduced into that part of the Cape in 250 years. 250 years ago, the last rhino was shot in that part of South Africa. And for 250 years, there were no rhino there. And then this game reserve started. It's in a game reserve called Aquila. Aquila meaning eagle. And it's the only big 5 game reserve down in the Cape. And they reintroduced rhino, and they had this male rhino called Absa, and he sired 2 calves. But he and one of his calves were attacked by poachers. They had drugs with them. They actually darted him instead of killing him. They tried drugging him, and they're still cutting his horn off. They were disturbed. They cut the one horn off. They didn't cut the other one off, and they just left him. And this poor dude this poor rhino was lying in the heat, in the dry heat, no water, no food. The drugs, they'd given him, I think, too much of a dose, or I don't know what they did, but it's one of the most shocking stories that comes out of this country at the moment. And it's bad enough what people do to their children, but really, to do this to animals is, it's shocking what people do to children. It's heartbreaking. But he passed away. They tried to save him, but unfortunately he passed away, and it was a big shock to all the people at Aquila and all the people that were involved in trying to get rhino reintroduced, re-established in a place where they've been extinct for 250 years. Some pressure has got to be put on this government to do more. They are doing. They've involved the military and the police to some extent. But We're Africa, for crying out loud. Put enough money under the table, people are going to turn a blind eye. And that is the thing that we've got to deal with, more than the guy who's trying to make $100 by going out and shooting a rhino, because you take him out of the equation, there's just going to be another poor soul who's going to be willing to do it for $100. It's not them, it's the officials, it's the politicians. There's so many more people involved on a much higher level. Just recently, a message was sent by a magistrate, I think it was here in this province, it's Limpopo province, and he sentenced a rhino poacher to 20 years. Unfortunately, with the judicial system, the poacher will be out in a lot less than 20 years, and probably would have it make him more of a criminal having been in jail. Cut their noses off or something. Crime must equal the punishment. That's sad. It's just way too much that's going on in this world at the moment with the way we treat nature. Who was it that said, was it Gandhi? I can't quote it, but there's something like the integrity of a nation can be governed or judged by how it treats its animals, something to that effect. I don't know if it was Gandhi. No, I can't remember. Somebody can help me out there. Something's got to be done. It might not be, in fact, we're tackling it from the bottom, we've got to tackle it from the top. Something up ahead, maybe a bush baby in a tree up ahead. Yvonne in New Jersey. Eat a lot of game meat. They sell lion meat in California. Push baby, but it jumped down and it jumped away. I can't imagine why anybody would eat lion meat. I mean, who would eat a predator? I don't eat a lot of game meat only because it's not really available. I do occasionally buy impala fillets when I'm in town, or some venison if I've got guests coming when I'm at home, because it's in market in the butcher, much the same as beef and chicken is, and it comes from legitimate operations where there are places where there are no predators and they will farm impala much the same way as they farm sheep and cattle and goats. And I have to be honest with you, I don't see too much wrong with that. In fact, to be honest with you, I would rather see farms with kudu and eland and impala than farms with sheep and goats and cattle, because sheep, goats and cattle are so destructive to the environment. And as long as we're humans and we have to eat meat, well, so be it. That's how it works. Now there's a little steenbok I see through there. That might be the one that, maybe it's a dake. Be the one that Karula was after. That's a dake. I don't know where the girl went. Well, perhaps she found peace and quiet. For anybody who is having children now, or anybody who's having grandchildren being born now, it'll be a miracle if they see rhino, if there are still rhino when they become adults. It would be quite something. They're still rhino. Petra wants to know how we protect animals from poachers here in Djuma. Well, the Sabi sand has quite an efficient anti-poaching force, but the very fact that we do game drives every day, and there are as many vehicles as there are driving around these roads, guides who are in radio contact with each other, guides who are all armed with very heavy caliber rifles, and that in itself is somewhat of a deterrent. Now, when poachers do go to an area, they will take note of the roads, they'll take note of the frequency in which vehicles travel those roads. It's quite easy to see a road that has either had no traffic or only one vehicle a day or one vehicle a week. It's quite easy to see, and those are the places that poachers are going to go to. They're not going to go to a place where there's evidence of multiple vehicles every hour driving on roads. But you know, one of the strangest things is that there were some poachers arrested. I'm trying to think. It was in the Waterberg, other side of the province, a place where Tara, I think in Tabeni, at that area where Tara once worked, completely different part of the world to this, where they've caught poachers there that come from the villages here, and that just goes to show that those poachers are not going to try and come into the Sabi sand, because they know, first of all, a lot of their family all work here. The lodges are staffed by people who live just outside the reserves, in the villages and small towns outside the reserve. The lodges provide revenue, they provide salaries, they provide a means for people to make a living. And poachers, who might even be family of some people, they're not going to come and try here, because they know that there's just such a high volume or there's such a high human presence, that for them to be able to successfully poach in this area, they've got to be really stupid. Because there's not only the anti-poaching patrol, there's an exceptionally good gate system. No one can just come into the Sabi sand. But also, these guides who are driving, even with their guests, they wouldn't hesitate to all get on the radio and to all band together if something like that happened. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Thank you very much. That was from Renee. Thank you very much. That was Gandhi. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way it treats its animals. That's what I was thinking of. And I think at this point in time, I don't think we can say that there's any great nation on this planet. There's no nation that can claim greatness under that pretext. There's no nation on this planet that treats its animals properly. Okay, people wanting to know our postal address. 399. There is, see, this one that Binky sent to me, this was sent to Djuma's from my email. Djuma's, that was box 338. You could send it to Djuma, but sometimes it can get caught up with the Djuma post. But I think it's best if you send it to our post box, which is box 399, Hluvukani. Hluvukani, Hluvukani, postal code or zip code 1363. The province is Mpumalanga, 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 South Africa. Maybe we can make a strap and put that up one of these days. If you want to send us a postcard. It's been a long time since we've received a postcard or anything. Keep note of the dates that you send it, and we'll see when we get it. It's easier than, I mean, the old days people were sending it to an address in Leidenburg, but it would sometimes sit there for weeks before it came to us. Sending it to our box in Klubakani. If it arrives in the box, we should get it within a few days, because I do clear that post box as often as I can. I get all my medicine sent there. I'm seeing the odd bush baby deep in the bush. I'm sorry I haven't managed to find one for you. It's also nice chatting to you about things. Seb's telling me a number of you are wanting to know what it is that you can do about rhino poaching from the States. I don't know. It's a difficult one, that. Because I don't know of any organizations that one can donate to that I could be confident enough to know that money is going to be actually used properly. I must look into that. Penny, I'm sure, can help me on that one, and I'll speak to Penny later, and I'll find out what organizations are worth supporting. But I think it's got to come from, I don't know, we've got to put pressure on politicians. We've got to have petitions signed. We've got to, I don't know, I've got to come up with something. Because up until now, whatever's been done up until now is not making any impact. Pressure's got to be put on the Taiwanese, the Vietnamese, the Chinese governments, the Yemeni governments, the Middle East and the Far East. Pressure has to be put on those governments. But if they're capitalizing on it, if they're benefiting from it, what could you possibly do with a foreign government that is actually gaining no good?
No, it was just directly in the camera. All I got was...
Oh, it was probably bouncing off the monitor there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Governments. We've got to think of how we can get our politicians to put pressure on foreign governments. And there's so much trouble going on in the world. We've got this Gaddafi thing going on. We've got little earthquakes. We've got Hurricane Irene. That's getting close. There are a lot of things that people that are affecting people's daily lives that kind of push the rhino situation on the back burner, and it's not as important as some of the pressing things that are happening in the world today, especially with the financial situations and governments falling and rebellions and riots, and we as human beings we just got to pull ourselves towards ourselves. We're not behaving like responsible creatures on this planet. A lot of us are, but there are a lot of us that aren't. So give me some time, let me look into it, let's see what let me come up with something that we can do collectively. It's no good one person doing one thing, another person doing another thing. We've got to do something collectively, not as Americans, not as Brits, not as South Africans. We've got to do something as the people of this planet. This is the planet we're talking about. It's not a country, this is the planet. It's the livelihood of our very own offspring. It's for our own benefit. It's the air that we breathe. It's the planet that we live on. We are destroying it, and it's not only the rhino. It's the tigers. It's the forests. It's the oil spills. It's the. My name is Mark. Becky's been on camera. Seb has been in final control. I'm stepping off of my pedestal right now. Who's here? Hyena coming to say hello to me. Hello. She agrees with me even. Hello, Missy. Must have been secretly listening to my discussion, my ranting. So as I say, I'm getting off my pedestal now. I do have using what we have here, being able to broadcast to the world, and hopefully we can get our numbers up, and hopefully we can create a really big community around the world, including people in the Far East. And I would really love to be able to connect with people in the Far East as much as we do with North America and Europe and places like that, and South America. She's now on that side of the Land Rover. Just leave my feet alone. Anyways, as I say, this has been Djuma Game Reserve. We've been with our PM safari, and well, join Seb tomorrow morning for the next safari, 6:30 Central African time. I hope you're going to enjoy that. And as we go, I just want to see where's our PC. Can you hear her? There she goes. Just wandering up and down. Probably came to see what I was ranting about. Okay, bye everybody. See you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for questions. And thanks for being a part of this very, very special thing that we have. Bye, Heather.